Welcome to Runequest. Runequest is a percentile-based, skill-based game based in Bronze Era Greece. I will have to inform you of one thing at this time. This is not D&D, so you're about to learn that. If you're still listening, I am going to go over the character sheet and how it is used so that you'll be well equipped for the arena and subsequent adventures in Glorantha. The first area that we're going to see is that there are 4 main tabs. You have the main tab, skills tab, allies, and family. The main tab you'll hear me refer to as the front page. This area of the character sheet is your name and basically where you were born, what gender, age, what tribe or clan you may be affiliated with. The second area of the header is your former occupation prior to becoming an adventurer. Now, this is unnegotiable. This is a randomized result. You could be anywhere from a beggar to a thief to a farmer to a herder to even a warrior. It's all in the luck of the dice. The next thing we're going to see here, the one thing that sticks out in this block are these 2 buttons. And this is your reputation. Now, reputation for a good or bad is reputation. So you can have reputation as being a dick, or you can have reputation as being a good guy. And what we'd do is we'd come here and we'd roll it. And as you can see, Barklar, the spike, is known by this individual or group of individuals, for better or worse. Now, being outside his homeland could give him some subtractions. Being inside an area, a town that he frequents more often than not, would give him bonuses. So the second button is actually a modifier. And what it does is it'll ask you for an input value, and we'll say we're going to give him a plus 25, right? And then we're going to submit it. And as you can see, instead of 50, he got 75, and yes, he was still recognized. Moving right along. The next thing we're going to look at is this little stick figure here, all right? And this will be referred to this point forward as your hit chart. Your hit chart has your head, your chest, your abdomen, your right arm, your left leg, your right leg on it. Whenever you take damage in Runequest, no matter how it was delivered, it's going to hit one of these locations. Now, we're only going to pay attention to the head here real quick. On a roll of a 19 or a 20, you would be struck in the head. First thing we're going to see is AP, armor points. And presently you have 3. Second thing we have is hit points, HP. You have 7. The next thing we see is wounds. All right, WNDS, it's wounds. So let's say somebody hits you in the head for 6 points of damage. You would come to your head, you'd say 3 points of armor. Hey, knock off 3. 3 points get through. I type in a 3. I'm all done. That quick, that fast, that easy. All right. Now all these ones that have 0 plus 0, you can simply just swipe them away and put in whatever the value of the wound was. The zeros are not required. The pluses are not required. The next thing we see is elemental and power affinities. We're not going to concern ourselves with the power affinities, but we will concern ourselves with the elemental affinities. The elemental affinities are basically just what they are. Your affinity to a element, such as earth, fire, air, water, moon, or darkness. Now you may be asking yourself, well, what do I care? Well, in the Orlanth cult, which you are a member of, Orlanth requires that you have your greatest affinity toward air, sort of like an airbender. Now, beyond that, these elements, you'll be able to select one more of these elements as your secondary affinity. Now, they're important because you'll be able to gain 1 point to a characteristic, which one you choose. So let's say you choose Earth. That's 1 point to your Constitution. Water, 1 to your Dexterity. Darkness, 1 to your Size. Fire, 1 to your Intelligence. And Moon, 1 to your Power. Now two of those seem kind of strange. Size and power. And we'll just be discussing that right now. So we're looking at characteristics. Characteristics are easy. We have strength, how strong you are. Constitution, how healthy you are. Size, how big you are. Intelligence, how smart you are. Power. Power, for the lack of a better term, is chi, or chakra. It is the inner energy that every human being has that we tap to cast spells. Oh yeah, everyone can cast spells. The next thing we have is dexterity, how quick you are. Charisma, how handsome, beautiful, or outspoken you are. Now, um, charisma also serves as a limiter to how many points of spells we can have. So high charisma is also beneficial not only in attractiveness, but in power, or actually spell points. The next area we're going to look at is this little column here in the middle. The first thing we see in that column is 1d4, and that's your damage bonus. Since this guy is pretty strong and he's pretty big, he's got a 1d4 damage bonus. The next thing we see is movement rate. Every human has a movement rate of 9 that allows them to move 3 hexes every strike rank. Strike rank. This is confusing for people at first. There are 12 strike ranks in a round. Every strike rank, you'll be able to move as long as you are not performing an action. But when we're talking about weapons, they are delayed due to dexterity and size. So his dexterity is kind of low, so he has a 3 dexterity for his strike rank. And then, a 3 strike rank due to his dexterity. And then his size, he's not really oversized, so he only has a 2 for his size strike rank. And then you add them together and you get 5. This will become more important later on. Keep this in your memory. So the next thing we have is our heal rate, which is 3. Now heal rate is, let's say, determinable by the GM. Now your heal rate could be 3 hit points to every location every day, which I do, or it could be every week, or it could be every 2 weeks, or every 3 weeks, or every month. Regardless to say, it's all determinable by the GM. The next thing we see as we continue to scroll down, staying in the left-hand column, is we see passions. Now, these are driving factors of a character. Not so important now to learn the combat style, but something definitely you need to become more attuned to when you're role playing. The next area is hit points. Hit points, yes. This individual is stacked with 19 hit points. Whenever you take bleeding damage or you take, let's say, poison damage, you would come here and you would enter in your damage here. As you can see, THP wounds, THP loss, 3 off of 19, 16. If I go back up to the character sheet above and I reinsert my 3 wounds to the head, and I scroll back down, you can see I have lost 3 hit points. So 19, 3, 13 all day long. Okay, so we'll go ahead and clean that up real quick. All right, moving along. The next thing we